Ferrari moved quickly to tie down one of its drivers for the long term over the winter, but it was Charles Leclerc rather than Sebastian Vettel who was given a new deal. Vettel is out of contract at the end of this year, and the disruption to the 2020 F1 season could mean Ferrari plays safe and offers him a short-term extension to buy itself more time. But if it is looking for a new teammate for Leclerc for 2021 and beyond, there are plenty of drivers it should be taking a closer look at. The title of this video is Drivers Ferrari Should Consider for 2021, so it would be madness not to include the currently available world champion. Hamilton is out of contract at the end of this year, and many great drivers before him have been lured in by the appeal of driving for Ferrari at some point in their career. But with Ferrari seemingly backing Leclerc as its big hope, it seems unlikely there'll be a big push to make an expensive move for Hamilton. Still, imagine what that driver lineup could do. If Ferrari wants to go down the route of two top-line drivers, Ricciardo could be its best bet. The Australian has proven his ability to race brilliantly and seize opportunities that others don't. He wouldn't be coming in as a number 2, and his time at Red Bull alongside Max Verstappen wasn't always harmonious, but compared to most top-tier drivers, he would be a less destructive force inside the team. Signing Ricciardo would give Ferrari a proven winner, which might fit its often risk-averse recruitment strategy. He's still in his prime and will be hungry for the chance to win races again, and he's unlikely to rush into signing a new Renault deal until he can see how the team is progressing on track when racing starts this year. Sainz has developed into a superbly rounded F1 driver at McLaren, showing clear signs of becoming a complete package after stepping into his hero Fernando Alonso's seat. Being overlooked by Red Bull and Renault could have been the end of Sainz, but he kept developing through those setbacks and now delivers consistently on race weekends. Aside from some tension behind the scenes while at Toro Rosso with Verstappen, Sainz hasn't caused any trouble at the teams he's driven for, which would be an appealing quality for Ferrari. At worst, Sainz could be an incredibly solid and reliable number 2, but he's come a long way since Red Bull deemed him not quite at Verstappen's level, and there's every chance the standout midfield driver from 2019 has what it takes to deliver at the front. An Italian racing for Ferrari, let alone winning, is a very appealing prospect, but that Italian needs to be up to the job. GIOVINAZZI made a lot of mistakes during his first full F1 season in 2019, but he is quick, and he knows Ferrari very well from the extensive simulator work he conducted prior to his Alfa Romeo drive. Given what Ferrari has invested into GIOVINAZZI's career, it needs to seriously assess the validity of placing him alongside Leclerc, even if the final verdict is likely to be a no. Since his 2013 season with McLaren, which proved to be at the start of the team's sharp decline, PEREZ has re-established himself as a strong F1 performer with Racing Point. But the 30-year-old isn't satisfied being known as the king of the midfield, and he desperately wants a chance with a big team. Ferrari once had PEREZ under contract, and that partnership came to an end because he chose to make the move to McLaren. As Leclerc's teammate, he would make a superb number 2, eminently capable of winning races on his day, scoring consistent points, but probably not being able to cause Leclerc problems in qualifying week in, week out. If Ferrari wants to take the option of a supporting driver who can score a hefty number of points while leaving Leclerc as the spearhead, PEREZ could be the perfect choice. As we've touched on quite a few times already, it would be a very Ferrari thing to do to sign someone it wants to be a number 2 driver. Bottas fits that mould because he did that job better than ever last year. Bottas walked into a fractured Mercedes team in 2017 following Nico Rosberg's shock retirement, and his influence on creating a calmer atmosphere in the team has been cited several times by Lewis Hamilton and Toto Wolff. He's been inconsistent at times in the second Mercedes, but 2019 was his strongest season yet. Ferrari clearly views Leclerc as its best bet to take on Hamilton and Verstappen at the other big teams. If it wants a proven quantity to play the backup role, perhaps it should seize on the fact that Bottas is only ever offered one-year contracts by Mercedes. Norris doesn't feel like an obvious fit at Ferrari. If anything, his entertaining online persona could be too outgoing for Maranello. And given the effort McLaren has invested into making him an F1 driver with a bright future, he'd be very hard to prize away from Woking. But if the Leclerc era is all about Ferrari becoming a younger, more dynamic force in F1, then putting Norris into the second car would blow another breath of fresh air through the corridors of Maranello. Norris isn't in F1 with aspirations of being a number 2 at a top team, but his first season up against Sainz showed he still has some rough edges, and he could form an exciting partnership with Leclerc while continuing to develop as a top-line driver. The last time Ferrari brought a driver back into F1 to drive one of its cars was in 2009, and Luca Badoer didn't fare too well. But Hulkenberg wouldn't be the hasty substitute Badoer was. In fact, if Ferrari wants a capable, established number 2 driver with minimal fuss getting them on board, free agent Hulkenberg is arguably its best bang-for-buck option. He's unattached, has bags of experience, and would be quick enough to be a strong support to Leclerc without rocking the boat. Ferrari considered Hulkenberg in the past and decided against it, although this time it wouldn't be evaluating if he had the potential to one day lead the team, so perhaps he could fit the revised billing. Let's finish where we started, with the man who currently occupies the seat alongside Leclerc. Vettel's F1 CV is exceptional, and his late season renaissance in 2019 might be enough for him to keep the drive if Ferrari wants to play safe. The early part of 2020 would have been key to showing if Vettel could sustain that form. Ferrari would also have wanted to make sure there were going to be no repeats of the costly Brazilian Grand Prix collision if Vettel's going to perform at a level that puts him in battle with Leclerc on a regular basis. What do you think Ferrari should do for 2021? Should it back Vettel for the long term, give him a shorter deal, or is it time to replace him? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to The Race.